So we are live yet again, and this time we are on the road to Payback. 3 weeks and counting, actually a little bit under now, as of yesterday, 3 weeks and counting, to the next WWE pay-per-view on the Raw brand. And this is the start of the Superstar Shakeup. We're going to find out who's going to which brand, whether people are going to stay on Raw, go to SmackDown, or none of the above. But I will say right now that that's going to give Ashley and myself the opportunity tonight to say where we want to put everyone. And some criteria here would basically be you could go to Raw, you could go to SmackDown, you could stay on Raw, stay on SmackDown. You can be sent to NXT, which is definitely not a demotion. Or we could wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Because it's happening. We're still due the mass exodus that we get every year.
So welcome to Popcast Network Superstar Shakeup. And also, yet another edition of the WWE Monday Night Raw Popcast. My name is Owen, fresh off last week of craziness. Now we're back to normal here on the network. Well, somewhat back to normal here on the network with 3 days of wrestling content in a row here on the network. Because of the Superstar Shakeup, we're going to be going live 11 p.m. tomorrow night for SmackDown 205 Live. And who knows, maybe we'll talk other things as well. I guess we'll see what happens. Probably not. Wednesday Wrestling Podcast will be at 10:30-ish. And that's going to be the different time, but it's going to be 3 straight days of wrestling coverage here on the Popcast Network. So welcome, Pedro. Welcome, Timbo. Welcome, Will. Let me address these real quick. AJ still on SmackDown Live. Thank God, says Timbo, at least for the time being. Pedro says tomorrow's the finale, but yes, I think they keep AJ on SmackDown. He's very concrete to the company. Yeah, it'd be very helpful given the fact that they took a lot of people off SmackDown tonight. Will asks if Roman is legitimately hurt or is just to get him off television because he has nuclear heat. It's getting him off television so they can build more sympathy for him that he will never get. And plus to build Braun Strowman up as the second coming. It's like I said before, and I've said this to Ashley offline. I've said this to most of you in chat right now, and the ones that are not speaking, thank you for joining us tonight. I don't mind Joe the person. I don't like Roman Reigns the character. There's 2 completely different things. That's a smarky way to look at it, but it's true.
Shall I quickly sum up my feelings after what happened tonight to Mr.
Sure
Reigns?
Yes.
Happy, joy, happy, joy. Sheamus and Cesaro.
Oh, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh my God. It's conflicted sort of. It's not like sarcastic happy, joy. It actually is in both thank God they're writing him off, but also for once WWE produced good fucking television for a change.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, okay, here's the thing, Will. No matter how much we don't buy Roman, Roman's the guy, and we have to get over that fact. And he doesn't need sympathy, no, but they're going to try to force him on us even more so to try to get us to buy the fact
this
that
guy got murdered.
Yeah, he got destroyed. Cheer him. Feel sorry for Roman Reigns.
If you didn't pay attention to what they tried to mute out because they did it all backstage, let's just say we're hearing chants we haven't heard since another Samoan superstar 20 years ago.
Yeah, we got a Die Roman Die chant that was clear as day, and they tried to mute it fast, but it still got on television tonight. We didn't even do that last week.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but this is the fan base that is going to the shows.
Yeah, it's true. Pedro says, I wouldn't be shocked if they tear people's hearts out tomorrow and end up throwing Rollins on SmackDown. It's possible. I mean, there's nothing saying that anybody is guaranteed until tomorrow's over.
I'd say everybody that you've seen say, I'm on Raw.
They should be on Raw.
As in the 10 that have come over from SmackDown and sort of NXT. Unless of course that person shows up tomorrow and it's like, okay. I think everybody that you saw tonight, so that is Cruz, Slater and Rhino, Kalisto, Ambrose, Miz Maurice,
Kurt Hawkins,
Wyatt, Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and who's the one I'm forgetting?
Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins. That's the one. To that brilliant and memorable segment.
Well, there is one more, but he could potentially be bouncing back and forth between both shows because it fits his gimmick.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't know about like the backstage stuff?
Nope.
Every single person that is employed by WWE that's obviously fit and ready to wrestle is backstage both tonight and tomorrow.
Correct.
Yeah, if you notice, there has been no Raw or SmackDown house shows this week. I guess giving them time to recover off WrestleMania and all that.
Deservingly so.
Basically, from Tuesday, that's when you'll start seeing the house shows from the weekend onwards split up to these people are on Raw, these people are on SmackDown. Well, this weekend is sort of the reset button, I guess, if you can call it that.
Well, and then you've got Shinsuke Nakamura and Ty Dillinger still working NXT on a semi-regular basis for the time being for the house show circuit and also the UK tour.
The UK tour, I think, is just to obviously because of the commitments that they've already got.
Right.
But then that will feed in, obviously, to the SmackDown pay-per-view next month, given that it is the main event to the NXT TakeOver the night before.
Yeah, it's a very, very distinct possibility at this point. So, and the next several weeks of NXT that were taped at Full Sail last Wednesday.
So where's our roster picks then?
So, and I'll keep on the chat as well. Pedro says, I love how they put Bray back on Raw and enter a rivalry with Balor. This is an angle that people have wanted on the internet for quite a while to see this, and I'm glad they're finally pulling the trigger on it. They threw away Orton and Wyatt immediately because it wasn't the right long-term program, even though it was really good in the short term, but there really wasn't many legs to it going through. The fact that we're going to get Randy Orton versus Shinsuke Nakamura makes me very excited, to be totally honest. I'm very curious to see how that match is going to go. Yeah, Morrow, I will talk more about Morrow on Wednesday, actually. I'm telling you right now, I really think, even though it has been said numerous times, and we can't get any clarification, obviously, because you're only going to get one side of the story because the other side's not going to say anything because they're guilty. The thing is, when it comes down to it, I really think that with what's been going on lately with Justin Roberts and things that were said in the Hardy's book and what's been said numerous times, everything that's come out about Morrow and what Jonathan Coachman did and the fact that ESPN is no longer covering the WWE, I really think what's going to end up happening is they are going to end up having, because if they don't, it's going to be a publicity nightmare, and that's going to be is fire John Layfield. They don't want to. Obviously, Vince doesn't want to, but I honestly think WWE will have their hand forced here.
And you notice the big problem? You know, how we've been going on about don't be a bully, be a star?
Yeah, we've talked about this for months.
Turns out the Don't Be a Bully, Be a Star is actually WWE.
Yeah, don't. If you're in the locker room, apparently back in the SmackDown days, don't drop the soap. Sadly, the freaking thing that like Jericho said, like Jericho even defended that and everything, and said that he just. I mean, people just kind of played along with it, and it's kind of like, okay, trying to weed out the people that don't belong on the roster. It's just, I get that's an old school mentality, but my God, it's gone way too far.
If you're in a publicly traded company and the thing you portray on television is very anti current equality and, workplace law sort of thing,
Right.
the pressure's going to come eventually.
Right. And Tim, I know we're going to have Orton and Bray at Payback and the House of Horrors match, and I'm very interested.
Fuck.
I'm very interested to see
Remember
exactly what kind of gimmick that is.
Asylum match.
Yeah, that match sucked. I don't think this match will. I don't know.
Well, one of the worst WWE match of the year. Sorry, Shelly Martinez and Rebel, you weren't going to get away with that easily.
I didn't see anything that horrible when I was going to see Impact, so there you go. So let's talk about here. Like I said, here's the criteria. We're going to go through the rosters of the entire roster, and we're going to decide, like I said before, if you're on Raw, if you're going to stay, or if you're going to go. Same with SmackDown.
Do you stay? Do you switch? Do you go down, or do you go out the door?
Yes, exactly. And are we going to play on the fact of the people that are already on the rosters, and if we think that's a good idea, or?
I guess, yeah,
Jericho and Owens. Obviously, Owens is going to be going to SmackDown, which sucks. But I mean, we'll see what happens with that.
We don't know.
I can't see them having two secondary championships on the same brand.
What if Jericho goes to SmackDown and then he wins the belt at Payback? Because the way it's looking, Payback is clearly being the whole what titles are going show.
Well, you also got the indication that Jericho's going to tour very soon, and he's got to be written off television pretty fast. I mean, is Jericho going to be around at SummerSlam?
Yeah, but if you look at the dates, he'd be out of action for Mondays, but Tuesdays he actually might be able to fit in.
Yeah, but that's really a guessing game at this point.
What I think will probably happen is he could win the belt at Payback, drop it on SmackDown to somebody, like the next night or whatever, then possibly have a rematch at, I'm guessing it's Extreme Rules in May, is it?
I don't have the schedule in front of me. That sounds right.
You could have the rematch then, or you could do it further down the line, because you could basically have Jericho written out of it and whatever. Hell, at the rate we're going, what you could have is, if Owens does stay on Raw and Jericho goes and wins a title, AJ wins it off him.
I cannot see them dropping AJ down to dropping him down in division. That's a bad idea. AJ's going to have to be one of the cornerstone baby faces of the roster. So you don't want to push him in the U.S. title picture.
It depends because they've said the House of Horrors match is non-title.
Yeah.
That obviously leaves that up in the air. So that could be obviously a way for AJ to get in.
It's possible. I mean, It's a good. I mean, it's even a chance that he could show up on SmackDown and say, "I'm going to Raw." But the thing about that is it doesn't make any sense from a storyline perspective because he pretty much turned babyface with the interaction with Shane last week on SmackDown.
Just looking at the chat, Pedro does say that the tour for Fozzy starts in May and ends mid-June.
Right.
So they could actually have what I said.
It's possible.
Payback drops the title to, you know, it could be Corbin. It could be Nakamura. You know, could be Dillinger.
Dillinger is the person that jumps out at me.
You know, it depends what happens tomorrow. We'll see. But I honestly think, certainly with the schedule, you could certainly see that happen. And then that gives you the excuse. And then again, June will be Money in the Bank. And then the problem is what goes on with that.
See, that's the question.
It's supposed to be a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, so what happens to the Money in the Bank match?
Money in the Bank is a SmackDown pay-per-view.
So what's the pay-per-view? I asked you. What's the one in June?
The one in June is Extreme Rules. Payback, Extreme Rules, and Bad Blood are the order for Raw.
Bad Blood.
Yes.
Oh, Backlash. That was it.
Backlash.
Christ.
Backlash would be where you'd have Jericho win the title then. Or defend the title in this case, or drop the title in this case. There's so many options.
Yeah. Because we don't have, like, the full sort of picture. It's like, I don't know.
And they're not helping either.
I mean, if we safe to like do this in two parts as well, and we just look at the way that the Raw roster's currently set,
right,
and who does and doesn't belong, sort of thing.
All right,
because obviously those are the ones we're more certain on because we're still up in the air about tomorrow.
Well, what's that do with the NXT roster then? Are we going to save the NXT roster for another time?
Oh, we could incorporate that in. If we think a division is lacking, you know, something, we can certainly say this person needs to come up or and this person needs to go because there's no point in them being there, sort of thing.
All right. Do you have a roster in hand right now?
Well, I'm going through basically an order of tonight's show.
Okay, let's start then.
If we go through the show, we can do it while we're going. The first thing we can even do before they bring it up, because the news was announced beforehand, officially. One was teased, but then that got confirmed during the show. But the official confirmation was Apollo Crews switches over, which, considering he wasn't doing anything in SmackDown, you know, it's something.
Yeah, but they haven't done anything at all with him at all. And he's just going to get lost in the shuffle on Raw. I mean, okay.
There's more potential for him, I think, considering, you know, Vince McMahon likes big sweaty man.
Yes. I mean,
obviously to him, Raw is more important than SmackDown because, of course, that's the one that's been around longer. That's the flagship, if you will.
Well, there's fresher matchups. I'll give you that. Obviously, with The Miz now on Raw, you can actually reignite that feud if you really wanted to, because those matches were decent. He could definitely work with a lot of the top heels on the brand, depending on what they end up doing with that. Because obviously, bringing people to Raw from SmackDown, we haven't seen any indication from that yet. Like if it happens tomorrow, it's a possibility, but there's that. I guess it could work. I mean, the only options for Apollo now would be, like, he was very stagnant on SmackDown and with someone else that moved up to Raw very soon after that we'll be talking about. They're extremely stagnant on the brand they were on, so this freshens them up a bit. But in my case, I mean, like I said, I love his work, but I would never. They brought him up too early. There was a lot of things he could have still done in NXT.
to some extent, but when he did come up, I was intrigued to see what happened with it, and they gave him some stuff, and then they just lost interest because, of course, they went with others. So
yeah, they do. I mean, they basically have a new toy, and then they play with them for a while, and then they kind of just it ends up in the island of misfit toys. It's kind of like yeah, it's just like, okay, you were good for about 2 weeks, and now we don't care anymore.
So then we get John Cena's music.
I love this. I love this because I love
once again
seeing this live.
People started John Cena sucks, and then they realized it's not Cena and Bella again. So it's like
there were still fans. You could tell their reaction that did not realize it was The Miz until he took off his hat. Straight up.
So John says, rule number 1, don't chant Cena sucks. We said we were going to Hollywood, but Hollywood didn't want us because we were too robotic. That's what they said. I do not know what that means. So we've decided to turn to Monday Night Raw. And then Dean Ambrose's music hits. And it's like, okay, so in the first 5 minutes, not including the Apollo Crews thing, you've actually got, one of the guys that's most over on SmackDown, and probably one of the fan favorites overall from SmackDown, even if it's not Owen's favorite, clearly.
I don't dislike Dean Ambrose. He just doesn't fit right now.
Has he got more chance, though, fitting on Raw?
I really think he does, but I mean, how long is it going to take for me to grow tired of him on Raw as well?
I don't know, because he started off pretty well tonight, because, of course, he was congratulating John and Nikki on their engagement, and really loved how they took it to Miz and Maurice. He hopes that he's going to be a great star in Hollywood, doing all his voice of elephants and bulls and whatever, and thank God he didn't make Marine 5. And of course, he then Miz has to go, you don't get it. That isn't Nikki. That's my wife, Maurice. And I'm not Cena. I'm the Miz. And Dean goes, oh, well, in that case, dirty deeds. Yep. That's a good start.
He made a splash. I'll give him that. And he's got a lot of fresh matchups. He was so stagnant on SmackDown, you really couldn't keep him there. He does not fit. Does not fit.
Third at the end of the night, I think it makes sense because, of course, next week Raw's in Cleveland.
No, it's in Columbus,
Ohio. So
Raw is in Columbus next week, not Cleveland.
Oh, Columbus.
The place that wrestling on this network started.
Yeah, I guess.
This network started in Columbus, Ohio, legit. I've told the story a billion times, but yeah, that's where day one started. Yeah, day one. We wouldn't be doing this crazy thing called the Popcast Network if I did not go to the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio.
It was planned by Owen before that.
Yeah.
But it officially started in Columbus. But yeah.
Aiden Quinn, welcome. No moderators in chat. May not be a bad idea though. Sometime though, honestly, our chats are a little bit insane sometimes. More on the horror night side of things than the wrestling side of things. Pedro says, I feel like they'll throw Dean and Miz in for the Intercontinental title. I don't want them to work each other anymore. They need to do something fresh. Seriously.
We saw that.
I'm done with that.
See it again.
Logan says, sorry I'm late. Let's just talk about AJ staying on SmackDown. Best move they could make. He's not officially there yet, but it's probably going to happen.
Considering what happened tonight and all the rumors suggesting how one person was, and after what happened, I don't think they clearly are going to SmackDown.
No, they're not. That person's not going to SmackDown. He's going to be away.
To Roman.
Pretty much.
That's Owen's line.
Yes, it is. It totally is mine. Okay, so let's continue the show real quick.
So Kurt's on the phone. Sammy comes in asking about his status. Miz and Maurice are like, look, we got away from the oppressive GM of Brian, and now you know we get this sort of treatment in our first night here. And they bicker, and Kurt's like, look, you're in a match. Deal with
it. See, here's the funny.
Go ahead.
Ashley, I have to mention the funny thing here. Miz and Maurice were sitting there, and they were just like, they were complaining to Kurt Angle. Then all of a sudden, Sami Zayn was just there, and he was trying to be nice and respectful to both Miz and Maurice. He's like, quiet child, adults are talking now.
True. But then New Day come out with not Kofi, but a blow-up doll.
Blowfee. Blowfee Kingston. How they skipped that joke, I'll never know.
I think because it was like crossing over PG-13, but you can clearly tell Corey didn't know it was happening because he was like, what the hell is that? And Corey just went, he just like did a fucking corpse. It was just like, God damn it, guys.
Send for the man.
Send for the man. You know, they say Kofi got injured. You know, Kofi got injured by the Revival, which I'm thinking is storyline excuse to probably heal an injury that he's had for months, probably.
That seems to be correct, yes.
Apparently they sold drinks or something. Most importantly, they pushed over the most importantly, they pushed over the bike.
Most importantly, if that bike would have been knocked out of the way, no one would have lost on Raw last week, because that bike was the biggest problem of the entire show. That's the reason why
when the job fair is open.
When the Revival won, I yelled out as loud as I possibly could. That was for the bike.
Yeah, the job fair's open and they want Revival to come out and get work.
What are they, Fifth Harmony now?
And then, of course, here come Revival. Dash in a I broke Kofi's ankle shirt. And Dawson in the RIP Ice Cream Cart 2017 to 2017.
Can we discuss what Cody Rhodes said about the Revival? Can we
buy them yet on WWE Shop, please?
I actually think those shirts are not WWE shirts.
God damn it.
Can we talk about what Cody said about the Revival over the weekend?
Oh, what?
You didn't hear this?
No.
So apparently there was just a short video clip. I don't know where it's from. I don't know what show. Cody was backstage with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and they bring the camera up, and Cody just goes, F the Revival. And that's all he says. Adam Cole's eyes go ginormous. It was hilarious. I was like, what is going on? Oh, yes, this definitely exists. I saw this video for myself earlier today.
Perhaps it's because they're in Chikara. Like, fuck the Revival. Ooh.
That's exactly what he said.
God damn it.
A little heat between the Elite and the Bullet Club and the Revival. Probably a lot more than just a little. But continue.
So they had a match.
Yeah.
Which was...
That was fine.
Rather damn good.
Really good, actually. I've been wanting to see these two teams face off for a while, and we got it 2 weeks in a row. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. Big E's gear, don't adjust the color on your television set. It is that bright. And it's the little things sometimes, Ashley. Did you notice that when Big E throws the overhead release belly to belly, he back bumps?
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very unique, actually. Xavier goes for the springboard rope walk elbow, and he barely connects. He kind of lands and drops his elbow. But it was all right. Mm-hmm. They basically end up getting Dash tagged in. Xavier sends him out. They set up the midnight hour, and Kofi gets knocked off the top into the Shatter Machine, which looked really nasty. And the Revival win 2 weeks in a row. Say hello to SmackDown, New Day. I'm not going to miss this at all. I like the New Day. I do. I really do a lot. And they're fun people. Like I said, met Xavier Woods at Horror Nights last year. It was awesome. Talked to Kofi several times on Twitter. Big E could have ran into everybody at Universal a couple weeks ago, but not going to happen. But I will say right now, the New Day have done absolutely everything they could do on the Raw brand, so they have to switch over to SmackDown. There's no reason for them not to be on SmackDown now. And given the fact that the SmackDown tag division is just kind of there, I think that they're going to have to. And I see what you're saying, Tim, that you're basically going to have Big E getting a singles push on SmackDown, not until Kofi's ready to go again. New Day on SmackDown, I have no problems with. The Revival on Raw, yes. But like I said, it's weird having the Revival and the Good Brothers on the same brand. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That makes me think that they could still move Gallows and Anderson on SmackDown so they can be with AJ again. I don't know. It could go either way at this point. I think we've confirmed that they're on Raw, but I don't know now because they really didn't confirm many people. Anybody that wasn't flat out confirmed, I don't think is a guarantee they're going to stay where they are. Match was good, though. Very much enjoyable.
So Neville's backstage with Charlie, asking about Aries, winning the number one contender spot last week. And Neville says, "Look, no, I've said it before. No one is on the Neville level." And then TJ comes in and goes, never say never. There's always somebody that will prove you wrong. And Neville's like, is it going to be you? Huh. At your rate, you'll probably never get a chance again. Think about it. You were the first Cruiserweight champ. You're the one that brought the 205 and show as it start. But, you lost the belt and now you're just languishing. And who's getting all your opportunities? Austin Aries. And Aries says, "Did somebody mention my name?" As he comes in, it's like, no. I'm not the, I may wear sunglasses at night indoors, but I'm not the one that's taking opportunities from anybody. And Neville says, just you think about it, TJ. There's only one person that gives out the opportunities. And Aries says, man, can you believe that shit that he's saying, TJ? And TJ just silently walks off. Cue Kurt Hawkins. Here's my first one that's going to get released.
No, I'm not going to release Hawkins.
He's back on Raw and wants his welcoming committee. Here comes Big Show, knockout punch, fucking it.
I don't know why they did that.
Speaking of that, Neville's on commentary for Aries versus TJ Perkins.
Not surprising this match is good.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, it was the next match that had the problem.
Right. But it ends in a count. It basically almost ends in a count out. They tease that win, and then Perkins gets a roll up.
Neville came away from the commentary table,
right,
to come down the ramp while Aries was posing on the ringside barrier.
Yes.
But Aries got wise and got in, I think, at like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that Pedro says, welcome, Kurt Hawkins, get ready to be jobbing out to many Raw guys now. Yeah, I guess you could say Kurt Hawkins can eat it. Yeah, now. Had to be mentioned. So
yeah, but you got no chance of the Edgeheads reunion now.
Yeah, unfortunately. But thankfully, after this, they finally realized that all the things that TJP has been doing has not really made him as liked as they probably would like him to have been. So they had him turn.
Fucking dabs in 2017.
Like I said, there's one person that's allowed to do that, and that's it. No one else. It should not be a thing.
Squidward.
Ever. No.
Squidward.
This sucked. But this I like TJP going heel finally. But the thing is, you mentioned, Ashley, like, who's left on the face side now?
The only one is Aries.
You got Aries. I mean, Akira Tozawa is questionable.
Tozawa's got his feud with Kendrick.
Right.
Ali's got his feud with Gulak.
Gallagher doesn't have anything to do. Not right now.
True. Is Swan heel for actually wanting to fuck Alicia Fox?
I just think he's dumbfounded by lust right now.
The fucking idiot.
I was trying to be a little bit more respectful than that, but okay.
No. You can't do that from the same company that advertises the resurrection of Gavin Stone on their bloody product.
Oh, God. Literally. So, but even after all this, the crowd chants, "You still suck."
Yep.
Here comes Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins says it's great to be back in the ring at Monday night. And says, how much pain he was in after Mania, but the important thing is he won. The King of Kings was slain. Thanks to Universal giving him a second chance. The important thing is Mania wasn't the finish line because we're just getting started. He wants some vengeance on Samoa Joe. He wants the Universal title. But there might be an issue regarding all of this as they show Stephanie getting bumped through the table again. And of course, the crowd are going, "Thank you, Seth." And Seth's like, Seth, I might not be Employer of the Month, when Steph's back. And the thing is, when Steph's back, I'm going to be Public Enemy number 1. And, when you think about it, the easy way out is to head off to SmackDown. But I took the easy way out before. And look where it ended me up. So I'm not doing that. I'm not leaving Raw. Even if security has to drag me out without a fight. cue Kurt Angle and says, look, Stephanie wants you gone. And to be honest, before Mania, I wanted you gone. But after what you went through, you know, the one-legged man that won the ass-kicking contest, you know, it reminded him of 86 when he won an Olympic gold medal with a broken fucking neck. I think that's how it goes. So as long as he's GM, Seth's staying on Raw. Kurt leaves, Seth's like, woo, and then gets attacked by Smart Joe. But amazingly, Kurt sort of comes back as if to go, come on, sort of thing. Like, deliberate sort of thing. But Seth gets the upper hand, takes him out, drop kicks him out the ring, gestures to him, like opening the ropes and everything, saying, come on, let's keep this going. And Joe heads off. Bit random.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But I approve.
Yeah, not bad at all.
It made sense that Joe stayed, considering, you know, he only showed up 2 months before.
Exactly.
Kevin Owens backstage with Charlie says that the shakeup won't affect him. You know, the guy it will affect most is Jericho. You know, think how he feels. You know, should he go to SmackDown to avoid any, you know, further damage from him, especially after what he did last week and putting him through the table, and him not being there. You know, and then about Ambrose obviously being IC champion, he's like, look, let's all be honest. All the champions in this company, I'm the number one. I'm more important than all of them. You know, and if Ambrose thinks he's more important, he needs to learn his place. Because this is the Kevin Owens show. And that's why it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, of course. So then oh, God. Then we get Charlotte versus Nia Jax.
Sorry, I'm just noting that apparently during tonight's show, Adam Plumpy and King Ross were on YouTube live reacting to all the shake-up stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's something to watch tonight. So Charlotte makes her way out. They recap Nia Jax attacking her. Then Nia comes out after the ads. And this is why I have to sort of about turn on Nia, sort of. Because over the weekend, I guess because of all the she's fat sort of stuff, which admittedly I said, she posted a picture of her basically in her bikini sort of thing. And the thing is, you know, for a plus size woman, she looks very good. It's just the attire that she has on when she does her wrestling really does not complement her figure at all.
Her gear is not flattering whatsoever.
No, the gear makes her look worse than she actually is. You know, the gear makes her look like she's got love handles. Which, if you look at her body, she's naturally curvaceous. It's not like, you know, there's sort of a beer belly and sort of thing. You know, that the outfit needs a redo in some shape or form. In all honesty, how even a different color might not make me notice it. Why does it have to be black? Why can't it be like dark blue or a green or, you know, or a purple, you know, some sort of like dark color that doesn't have to be black. dark red. I don't know. Can't really have dark yellow, whatever. You don't really want to do brown because then it will just look like she's naked. But yeah, I think that the black color of the attire doesn't help it. So then Charlotte and Nia had a match, which I feel sorry for this because it started off good. But the crowd didn't give a fuck because they were looking at something. If you look like 2 minutes into this match, all the crowd are looking at something somewhere else in the crowd. Everybody is standing up trying to get a glimpse of whatever it is and not watching the match. It's not like they're chanting and sort of not giving a shit about it or anything. They're just not paying attention. They're watching whatever else happened. I don't even know. Don't think it was it was clearly something.
Wasn't this also the time where the Drifter just appeared out of nowhere, walking through the crowd with the guitar?
What happened?
Wasn't this the time that the Drifter just appeared out of nowhere in the background with the guitar?
No, not there yet. Not there yet, son.
Because it happened twice.
Did it?
Yes. Thank you, Tim. I didn't think I was imagining things. He was in the background the first time, and they totally ignored it. And then when he came out on the stage later on in the show, that's when they actually recognized it.
Oh, is that why they were looking? Elias was in the crowd?
Yes, you didn't notice he was walking back and forth with the guitar over his back.
No?
Yep, totally got that. I'm glad I'm glad everybody in chat's on my side here, so I wasn't imagining things.
I need to add that to the notes. Apparently.
Yeah, this match was kind of there. Nia was using like a Shinamaki, like a modified Cobra clutch, and it looked okay, I guess. Charlotte got the knee clip, hit the natural selection for the near fall. Nia goes to the ring post, and then Charlotte goes for a moonsault. Okay. Her moonsault press, which is to the outside, Nia was not close enough. She was too far away. So when she barely caught her, she basically dropped Charlotte face first on the ground.
Yeah.
That looked bad. You notice
really
Charlotte's...
Matthew, I know what you need to do.
Yeah. Charlotte's eyes were a little bit glazed over after that, actually, to be honest. So they quickly went to the finish. Big boot.
She won't be on SmackDown because she's got a concussion.
And adds furthermore insult to injury when Nia sends Charlotte into the bottom turnbuckle. Avalanche Samoa drop 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but when the turnbuckles happened, you could clearly see her forehead didn't even touch the turnbuckle.
Right. But the thing
did.
I really think that Charlotte's going to SmackDown. It only makes sense. And this was writing her off television.
And then Sasha shows up. Like, you idiots. You fucking idiots.
So this leads to our next segment, which is an up-close and personal look at Finn Balor.
Yeah, just a video thing.
It's going one-on-one with Jinder Mahal. Jinder works the heat. Finn ends up getting the Pele, the sling blade, and then the shotgun drop kick and the coup de grace. Match over. Finn's still a rock and roller. Jinder Mahal going to SmackDown? Maybe.
Zip!
Yeah, Johnny Depp time.
No, Javier Bardem. So yeah, Bray Wyatt shows up.
We've been waiting so long for this.
And he's like, I've got a special gift for you all because Payback will be getting the House of Horrors match. So I'm like, okay, we're getting, I guess, Interbrand match on Payback, right?
I think Payback.
What the fuck is a House of Horrors match?
We'll see.
And it's like, I'm keeping an eye on you, Finn. I'm very interested. Monday Night Raw. I'm here. Damn!
I like it. I like this a lot.
As soon as I saw that, part of me was going, AJ's staying, isn't he?
That pretty much confirms it.
As soon as he showed up, he was nowhere in contention on any of the rumored lists to actually go. So it looks as if they've actually played it pretty quiet and pretty well quiet. Yeah, the only thing that we really knew was Samson. You know, looking through the list, I guess the women's thing with Bliss, which we'll get to in a bit, that was the one that was expected, but Mickey wasn't.
No, Mickey was definitely not expected.
Miz, I'd say, was.
Yep.
And the rest of it sort of was a surprise.
So
I would argue.
So
apart from Samson, but Samson's, of course, is technically, because of the whole storyline in NXT, free agent to Raw or SmackDown. Who knows?
So they announced Kalisto, which he'll fit quite nicely on 205.
Yeah, I honestly think that's why he is on Raw. He's going to transition in because then, of course, you've got another face.
I can't wait for the face versus face match that he has, where we don't know which one's which when he faces Lince Dorado.
If that even happens.
It's 205. They almost have no option.
Don't forget also, what's his name? Gran
Metalik, yeah.
Gran Metalik as well.
And then in the stupidest one that I've had so far, Heath Slater and Rhino go to Raw.
Oh, no.
So this should have been the Fashion Police. Building up Fandango and Tyler Breeze and their characters on Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
With respect, no. Because at the rate that the SmackDown division's going, Breezango might be tag champs by default.
Well, I hope so, but I'd rather have them on Raw. I don't care about Heath Slater and Rhino. I don't care. I definitely don't care about the Shining Stars.
Good.
At least those stars aren't back. But maybe they'll be, like you said, maybe they'll be forced to actually push them now. So hopefully that is exactly what happens. So we get our next match of the night. Sami Zayn against The Miz. Again, no surprise this match is good. Good stuff here. Miz with the S kicks. And then the Buzzsaw ducked in, Blue Thunder 1-2 and a kick out. So he goes for the Haluva kick, and of course, Maurice pulls him to the safety. This allows a skull-crushing finale attempt, which is countered into a forward roll for the 3 count. Sami Zayn wins. Sami Zayn staying on Raw. Life is good. See, the thing about putting Gallows and Anderson on SmackDown, putting them with AJ, I know that was the original idea, but I think AJ is now pretty much a confirmed babyface. New Day are definitely going to SmackDown, Logan. I guess we'll see what happens with that. And then we get the segment of the night. Oh my God, this was fun.
Owen can attest to this. Voice went up about 3 octaves for about 2 minutes.
Indeed.
I mean, the great thing is, considering what happened today in terms of movie stuff, I've got the perfect music to back this up when we need it. So we go to and the important thing is they didn't do this like in some weird studio or anything. They did it backstage.
Yep.
Which was always going to be the issue because, of course, you're trying to put over Roman clearly as a face. But you weren't going to have that happen when you can still hear boo in the background.
That's the least of their worries was a boo.
So Roman felt, it was bittersweet for him. Sure, it's the biggest win of his career beating Taker, but he didn't want to have to retire a legend. But look, he did what he had to do. It's his yard now. And then here comes Braun! Fucking Braun! Beats the shit out of Roman in the backstage area. Throws him into the shutters. Throws him on the floor. Smacks it. Basically does the whole... what's the move that he does where he puts him on his shoulder?
The running power slam?
The running power slam! Onto, like, a box that was slightly on wheels. Like it was a pallet sort of thing. So it, like, slid along. And then he grabbed another one of the toolboxes, positioned it right, and smashed it straight between a wall and a Roman place. Here comes Braun! Because he's gone off, but now he's back because Roman's on a stretcher. And then we do the most awkward jump cut where you can see, oh, look, the camera's going wrong. Somebody's got... You could... Because I wondered what was going on with that. And now, after seeing it, I figured out that's how they did the jump cut.
Yep.
To explain. Where if you look at the image and everything, it was like sort of like Bray Wyatting in bits. Like it was cutting out.
Yep.
As if they were having problem getting the camera feed or whatever, or like somebody ran over a cable. During this point, we cut to a different angle. Hang on. Here comes Braun. Fucking Braun. Grabs the fucking... grabs the stretcher and pushes fucking Roman off the loading bay to his practical death.
So here's the thing. He goes full on Sid Vicious, or if you want to go into a newer fan's perspective, full on Kane. Remember the Edge and Kane feud? When they did that to Paul Bearer?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did, or to an extent, what Kane did to Zack Ryder. But it wasn't a stretcher, it was a wheelchair.
Yeah. This and the key thing to note about this, as he's actually getting put on the stretcher before that whole thing, you hear the crowd going, "You deserve it."
Yep. I have never heard so much venom towards a crowd than I heard.
And then, of course, after being thrown off the loading bay, as they check on Roman again, as they obviously edit back in, they even edit back in with the camera going wrong.
Yep.
If you notice. And then they're checking on Roman again, and this is where it got like, now I feel slightly uncomfortable. This crowd was doing die, Roman, die.
Yeah, even at WrestleMania week, it never got that extreme. FU Roman's one thing, but telling someone to die, we haven't heard that since the Rocky Maivia days.
So, they wheel him off, get one of the cameras out the way, take him to an ambulance, put him inside, load him in. Oh, no. It can't be. It can't be. Back comes Braun. Scares off the ambulance crew, does a couple of punches on Roman, gets out, shuts the side door, mysteriously doesn't shut the back doors, even though they mysteriously get shut. And Braun goes to the side of the ambulance and starts lifting and lifting, and he's picking this fucking ambulance up. And he fucking tips the ambulance on its fucking side. Holy fuck, Braun. Anyway, enough of my hype before Ragnarok. I mean, that was incredible. Just as when you thought it was finished, it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept fucking going.
Well, Ashley, as you know, if you checked Tinder many months ago, you would know that he is country strong for a reason.
Hey, you don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com.
Exactly. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Doing this, there's a lot of things that it actually done. Number one, it made Braun Strowman a babyface. I know they don't want that. Number two, you're trying to get sympathy for a guy that 90% of the crowd does not like. You're building up to a match that's either going to be a stretcher match or an ambulance match, one of the two, because that has to be a stipulation. With, of course, Roman beating the odds.
How did they fucking hide the winch?
Yeah, the camera angle.
True.
But yeah, this was something that was done at the right time. They didn't put Roman in front of the crowd. And if they would have put him in front of the live crowd, it would have been even worse. They
were that scared of last week.
Yeah.
The thing is that if he suddenly comes back next week, despite his ribs and his shoulder and everything, I have somehow got a feeling Die Roman Die is now going to become a thing.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you really look at it from that perspective, if he was Cena, he'd be back in a week. He's not Cena. He'll be back in 2 weeks. So you're good.
He is Cena, remember? He beat The Undertaker. He's Cena. He will be back at the end of next week to beat the shit out of Braun to close the show. And that's how you build up to the match between them at Payback, which I don't know whether it's a stretcher match or an ambulance match, but it's one of the fucking two.
It has to be one of the two. They build it up way too much tonight.
Just like the ladders for Mania.
Yeah. See, what exactly we said before we even started the show. before
and
WrestleMania happened.
For
We said
Ziggler,
that on Wednesday.
but the chairs for Ziggler and Cruz and Kalisto.
Right, exactly. I mean, like I said, I'm still not like sold on Braun, and I'm probably not going to be for a bit. But I will say right now, this was something they needed to do. They really did, and this was great. This segment was just over the top in every great way. It made it feel it felt old school Attitude Era, like you said before. It's something that should have happened a long time ago, and I'm glad they did it. Taking Roman off television for a while the heat's nuclear, I think is a smart move. Let's take him off a couple weeks, have him come back to go-home edition of Payback and says he wants his payback and he wants Braun and he wants him in an ambulance match or a stretcher match. And then they do that match. And then, of course, Roman beats the odds and beats the big evil Braun Strowman that tried to kill him on national television. So that's the story we're telling. And that's the build we get to lead us to Roman's big match with Brock at SummerSlam.
If they want to do it that early.
I mean, there's not many options for Roman right now if that's the case. Like, you have another rematch with Strowman potentially after Roman beats him? I don't think so. I mean, they could hold it off a month and have them not even have a match at Payback. That's a possibility too.
Roman gets taken out of the first ambulance, put into a second ambulance, and that ambulance actually does drive away. And cue Owen with the line,
"Where to, Roman?"
A la Attitude Era, because that felt like it was written 20 years ago.
Indeed.
I don't know how fucking PG it is to throw somebody off a loading bay when they're strapped to a stretcher. I know it was a dummy, but some kids won't get that.
It could have been even the Kofi dummy, to be honest.
Roman Reigns fans. There's some kids who are Roman Reigns fans who might be slitting their wrists at the fact that their hero might be dead.
We don't need that.
That I don't want. I just want Roman to go fucking heel. I have no problem with Roman. No problem. It's just, why are you trying to position him as a hero? You've already got a hero. He's called Brock fucking Lesnar.
Yeah, they were going that direction for a while too.
You know, you saw it. People, yes, because of what happened last week, people at the end actually applauded and respected Goldberg.
Right.
But the idea was they were pleased that Braun got the belt, that Brock got the belt because, he'd actually probably do more with it. Hell, we don't even know if he's even in action on Payback.
Right.
I doubt it because of the Strowman situation. But is it Extreme Rules the next Raw one?
I believe so.
In what, June?
That sounds right.
It makes sense for him to be on that show. I'd have thought.
Maybe, we'll see.
So apparently there's going to be a reporter keeping an eye on stuff live, and we'll go back to him later tonight. We don't.
That never happened.
We just get a report coming through saying he's injured. But whatever. So Gallows is in the ring. Anderson is in the ring. And the Shining Stars. Apparently we've got 8-man tag match stuff going on. So then out comes Monsieur Sheamus and Cesaro. Insert whatever chant you want to. And then, of course, here come the Hardys, and then randomly just showing up on stage. And I don't even know if he watched it or just disappeared. I can't even remember. All I do know is this match was Sheamus and Cesaro and Matt and Jeff Hardy taking on Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and the Shining Stars. One of these teams is not like the other teams. One of these teams just doesn't belong. Can you guess which cunts do not like the other ones before we finish this song?
We have breaking news. There has been oh God, it's going to make it even worse. There has been a switch in the announced teams for Raw and SmackDown.
They only do that afterwards?
It was on the WWE Twitter feed.
Hang on.
Welcome
to WWE Twitter feed.
Welcome to
Don't even say it. Hang on. I need to go.
We're
WWE.
live right now. Welcome to SmackDown. Byron Saxton.
Does that mean Otunga?
That is correct. David Otunga will be going back to Raw.
Or is that the four-man announced team?
No, that is David Otunga going to Raw.
Is that actually confirmed?
I don't see where it is, but apparently it's been said somewhere.
The only news is Byron's going to SmackDown.
They just said he's going. Otunga's going to Raw.
He's going to. Logically, you think he's going to Raw, Otunga, but I'm wondering whether they're keeping it as the four-man announced team, and Byron's going to be doing the hosting duties.
Nope, I don't see that happening.
That Tom was doing. We'll
I
see tomorrow.
I need to know where the David Otunga news is because I saw that it broke. I don't know exactly why no one's saying it anywhere. There to be as if they've officially announced it, but they haven't announced it, I guess. I don't know exactly what's going on at this point. I'm going to keep up on this tonight. There we go. There is a video that exists on .com right now, which I can't listen to because we're live. But basically, it says Byron Saxton just got some huge news following Raw. And it is a minute-long clip, and it sounds like this is confirming it.
Yeah, everybody's saying. Because all I see is Byron's face. Oh God.
It confirms both. So there you go. David Otunga on Raw. Wow. Why?
I guess he doesn't want to be around a fucking bully.
Well,
it's especially awkward because, of course, he's a practicing barrister. Which, in that case, you'd have thought JBL would want him as close as possible.
I think it's a very much getting to the point now that Tom Phillips may end up being the lead announcer on Raw very soon.
Not yet.
Very soon, because Cole wants to get out, wants to go backstage and So
they need to establish, obviously, the more
that's what
they're situation.
Yeah, that's done. So,
well, no, it is now. Phillips now has a chance to actually prove that he belongs.
Maybe
also worth noting on Twitter, Kofi said Mattel needs to make a Blofi Kingston action figure immediately.
Yeah, great. Like I said on Twitter, Kofi, great minds think alike. As you guys heard not less than a few minutes ago, I just mentioned that.
Yeah, but you mentioned the Blofi thing like even before 23 minutes ago, so that's what I was confused about.
Again, it's still something I said before it was said out loud, so there you go. I think right
Kofi
now
Kingston's watching this fucking stream. Is that what
please.
you're saying?
Welcome, Kofi. So I'd say Raw. We're looking at. Oh God, this commentary team's gonna be crap. So you've got Corey, you've got Cole, and apparently David Otunga. I'm honestly right now, I'm thinking that SmackDown will open with the new head announcer, Tom Phillips, working with, oh God, why? Byron Saxton and Jerry the King Lawler. Jerry the King Lawler. I don't think JBL is going to be on television. That's my prediction. I think they'll at least take, if he's not going to have disciplinary action taken against him, I think they take him off TV for a bit until things die down a bit.
Yeah.
That's what I would do in the situation. If they want to push it under the rug, the only way to do that at this point and save face is to take JBL off television for a while. And that's what I would do at this point. If it were me in charge, I would take JBL off television.
Also worth noting, considering, what happened between Monsieur Dave and Coach on social media.
Yeah.
There was no mention tonight of this person's on SportsCenter on Wednesday.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, it's done. WWE is not being covered on ESPN anymore.
They gave up after WrestleMania.
That's the fact that they don't want to cover WWE with what's going on with the bad PR at this point. I mean, there's really not. I mean, the other option I can see right now, and somebody that's definitely ready for Raw and SmackDown. Well, eventually going to be ready for Raw and SmackDown. The next person that's going to come up is going to be Nigel McGuinness. He's going to be on NXT for a bit. I mean, seeing Nigel take that third spot on SmackDown, I would love that. That'd be great. I can't imagine Jerry Lawler on NXT. So
just as long as he doesn't say Ring of Honor.
Hey, it's SmackDown. He might be able to. In some ways.
Well, no, because the guy that was in Ring of Honor has now just gone to Raw.
Yeah. Pedro says, do I think they pull the trigger on Asuka? No. Right now, NXT needs her. Not for too much longer, but they do need her a little bit.
Business.
Yep.
Business. And they need her to stay because otherwise people will go, I'm not fucking going to the UK tour.
That's exactly right. So yeah, let's talk about this actual wrestling match real quick.
Just to remind you, it's Cesaro and Sheamus and the Hardys versus Anderson Gallows and the Shining fucking Stars. Insert joke here that I did about 5 minutes ago. But
yes.
Fuck you, Otunga.
Good stuff here. So we go to finishers galore because that's always fun. Primo gets the lung blower on Sheamus. Epico gets tagged in. And Matt Hardy comes in with headbutts and then the corner clothesline into the running bulldog. Primo hits a side effect, twist of fate. Gallows breaks it up with a super kick. Jeff hits a twist of fate, and Cesaro and Sheamus send Carl Anderson over the top of the floor. And they hit Potri in motion on the outside. Primo goes for the lung blower again. Matt grabs the ropes to hold on. Twist of fate, tag in Jeff, Swanton, 1, 2, 3. In a perfect world, for me personally, this would have been Fandango and Tyler Breeze and not the Shining Stars. But that's not going to happen, apparently. Tag match over. Cesaro and Sheamus and Matt and Jeff shake hands. Into that. It was good for what it was, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bag on the Shining Stars all you want. The gimmick sucks, but Primo and Epico are good in the ring. So that's the one thing I will give them. They do know how to turn it up in the ring, but the gimmick is just so terrible. Then we get Dana Brooke in the back, reading a book, How to Be Your Own Protege.
Cue Emma saying, like, come on then. And Dana's like, what? And Emma's like, before you were Charlotte's protege, you were my protege. Hell, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be up on the main roster. And Dana's just like, look, I'm trying to end up on my own 2 feet and be an independent woman. I don't need anybody anymore. And that's all you got. Is she Emma or is she actually Emelina? Because it's like high and by.
I did notice that when Emelina was brought up, she's like, no, I'm just Emma. Like, push this underneath the rug. We don't want to talk about this anymore.
Bailey's backstage. She's talking next, except Sasha Banks shows up and says the reason she's out here is unfinished business, but first wants to introduce Bailey. And Bailey appreciates the introduction and says, I want to first thank the fans for supporting me through my career and letting me have my Mania moment. Sasha says, congratulations on all that. But that moment is over. You know, I want my shot. Cue Alexa Bliss. And it's like, I've heard enough of you two talking. You know, it's more important. You know, I've sorted out everything on the SmackDown brand, proved myself, and now it's time to take over Raw. Cue Mickie James. And says, look, it's only fair that the greatest women's champion should be back on Raw as well. And, you know, Alexa, you've sorted everything on SmackDown. Don't worry, there's some unfinished business. And then Nia Jax comes out. Alexa runs. Nia destroys all of them bar Alexa, finishing off with Bailey and then lifting the title aloft and walks past Alexa on the ramp and like Alexa's looking sheepishly at Nia and then just walks off. And then Alexa just like does the smarky sort of, oh, I got away with that sort of smile. And the women's division is a not Joey Janela clusterfuck right now.
For now.
Especially when Sasha's tweeting, I didn't finish what I was saying. I guess I'll have to do my actions, do the talking. So you're planting the seeds of heeldom.
Well, I mean, Charlotte's the only person on the Raw brand that I can see going over to SmackDown at this point anyway, so.
Well, possibly Emma or Dana?
Maybe. I mean, I thought Sasha Banks was going to
the way you did that fight with the 5, I'm pretty sure you've established that those 5 are staying where they are. Paige, I think it's just a case of they're letting her contract run out.
Yeah, she's not going back on television.
Well, she will be. Possibly for World of Sport.
Maybe.
I think she'd be very sensible not to go to Impact. Just stick with the World of Sport and not do anything with Impact.
No. Her and Rosemary is a match that they need to book for Bound for Glory this year if they can make it happen.
Yeah, but my problem with that is, look what they do with fucking couples.
This one's not breaking up anytime soon. Trust me. It just seems to me this one's going to last.
After Alberto's drunken fucking Periscope rants?
His Periscope rants
I'm not so sure. I am not so sure.
No, I think it'll be fine.
Then they announced that TJ Perkins faces Jack Gallagher on 205 Live tomorrow. And that the Superstar Shakeup continues on SmackDown. Oh, wow, yeah. Because you mentioned that whole, Byron thing. I'd better add that to the notes, which is handy because obviously we're down to the main event.
That quite literally just happened. So
I know. Yeah, so it's Owens versus Ambrose.
Good match. I enjoyed this. So some good stuff in this match. Leaping senton. Ambrose gets the knees up. Ambrose with a tope suicida tosses Owens back into the ring. Boot in, dirty deeds. Owens gets out of it. Hits a spinning neck breaker. Running clothesline into the Bulldog, but Owens shoves him off. Goes for the cannonball. Ambrose out of the way. He crotches Owens on the top rope and with a clothesline for a near fall. Ambrose up top, going for that horrible standing elbow drop that I hate so much. And Owens powders to the outside, and Ambrose dives off and hits him in the top of the head. So he breaks the count at 6, climbs to the top. Ambrose gets caught with a boot. Owens sets up the package sidewalk slam for a near fall. Whip in, goes to the pop-up powerbomb. Ambrose counters the Rana, goes for dirty deeds. Owens the high back elbow. Ambrose looks for the Nigel, gets decked with a super kick. Owens sets up the double underhook DDT, and of course Ambrose counters it with his own finish and hits one of his own and wins clean as a sheet. Most likely the final match you will see on the Raw brand for Kevin Owens. Sad to me, obviously, but it's going to be some fresh matchups we haven't seen before, or we haven't seen in a while in some cases. Welcome, Acer, to chat.
Well, we'll see. Certainly, because we know that Ambrose is gone. You'd guess that Owens is gone. But you're going to have, was it actually, no, it was Survivor Series, wasn't it?
I believe so.
We had some because it wasn't it Neville versus Kalisto. No, it wasn't Neville. It was Kendrick.
That makes more sense.
No, but it was Kendrick versus Kalisto at Survivor Series, back in November.
Mm.
And there was the whole, is SmackDown going to get the Cruiserweight Championship and that'll be the home of the Cruiserweights now, sort of thing.
Right. And they went with Raw anyway, even though that SmackDown is where the Cruiserweight wrestlers work on 205 Live.
Anyway. Yeah, certainly they did it. They did it to some extent on the Money in the Bank show, didn't they? Because that was the last pay-per-view before they definitively split them, wasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because SummerSlam had some cross-promotion, but at the same time you had stuff within the same brand as well. So I honestly think you'll be getting that tomorrow. I think Jericho is the one that goes, and Owens might actually stay. Possibly.
I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't mind that.
Logically, it makes sense because you'd have thought if you're going to switch one title from one brand to the other, it makes sense to switch the other. So we'll see. I don't want it to be Kevin, but it certainly makes the most sense.
Right. I just can't see, even just for a short amount of time, both mid-card titles being on the same brand. I think they're going to try to avoid that as long as they can, but we'll see. And then Jericho, of course, shows up at the end and leaves Kevin laying with the code breaker.
Yeah, just like hit it out the blue, and it's like, that's your show. I was like, okay. A bit fucking random, but whatever.
Very strange. All right, so we're going into this real quick before we end.
Into what?
The rest of the roster, where they go from here.
I mean, try and see if I can quickly bring up the roster.
I've got it. Thank you, Garwick.net.
List of WWE personnel.
Enzo and Cass going to SmackDown. Probably. Enzo and Cass and the New Day both going to SmackDown is my prediction.
Yeah, so New Day, I think it would make sense.
Yep.
Big Show's obviously staying. Bo Dallas, I'm honestly thinking if he might get cut.
I don't think he's going to get cut. I do think that they're finally going to do something. I don't know how they're going to render how it's going to work, but Bray has been.
Of course. I've just realized Bo can't get cut because he's needed for the Wyatt family version 2.
I really think he's finally going to be working with Bray. Charlotte's going to SmackDown. Curtis Axel could actually go to SmackDown, honestly.
Possibly. Darren Young probably is exempt because of his injury.
Yep.
Obviously, Dash and Dawson aren't going to be going anywhere.
Nope.
Epico and Primo.
I would switch them.
I sort of want them to just go on the indies and whatever because I don't think they're going to even fit. How many different times have they tried to be repackaged and none of them have worked?
Personally, I just switched them out for Fandango and Tyler Breeze, but that's just me personally.
Goldust and R-Truth. I'm not going to say unemployed. I'm going to say
NXT.
Training at developmental.
NXT. What other way to get over the Authors of Pain?
No, Heavy Machinery. We've already found that out.
Well, I already talked about that, but I'm talking about if you want to build Authors of Pain even more, you have them destroy somebody like Goldust.
We know that Jinder's staying because steroids, allegedly.
Gargano and Ciampa could end up on SmackDown.
Henry might just stay until his contract runs out, in all honesty.
Probably will.
Rusev, again, he probably can't be considered because of the injury. Sin Cara, a.k.a. Buddy Hunico, he could be going.
He could go, or he could, I mean, they should have put him on 205, to be honest. Or honestly, we've been talking about putting Sin Cara on NXT for a while, so why don't you just put him there?
With the women, it would make sense for Charlotte to go, but in terms of everybody else, I'm not entirely sure. Possibly Alicia.
Maybe, but
it makes sense. Then again, of course, if she'd be doing both shows anyway, wouldn't she?
Yeah, Sasha may end up going, potentially.
Which would be, I think, a mistake.
Yeah.
Big ass mistake. Aiden English, well, he deserves to stay because I believe he's getting a push anyway at some point.
Yeah, he's getting pushed, so I think he's going to have a nice little. Honestly, I think a nice little feud with him and Ty Dillinger wouldn't be a bad idea right off the top. Two guys that could definitely work that have been held back for a little bit.
AJ should stay, and I think because of the whole Roman stuff, I think he is. Jordan and Gable,
they're going to have to stay now.
They're going to have to stay, really, because that, with well, it wouldn't make sense because if they'd have gone, you would have already seen them tonight. I'd have thought.
Yep.
Corbin should probably stay.
He'll stay.
If anything, you might actually be getting Owens. Might in that logic, then Owens might be staying.
Yeah.
Because if we're getting, because of what happened at SmackDown last week, if we're getting a rematch between Ambrose and Corbin at Mania, I can see Corbin winning the belt and taking it back to SmackDown.
Well, that's likely.
So Owens
is going to stay.
I think Triple H wants him to stay on Raw as well because of the whole NXT deal. Arguably those are his crop. They're his first picks and whatever. Zayn and Rollins and Balor and Owens. And because he's more in charge of Raw than he is of SmackDown, because of course he's one of the on-air authority figures, it makes sense for them to stick around with, the loyalty. Because what happens to the whole Kevin Owens, in the pocket of Triple H thing if he goes on a different fucking brand? Ziggler.
It's tough.
If anything, I want Ziggler to face Bobby Roode at TakeOver.
Seriously, no. At this point, Dolph Ziggler on NXT would be a great idea.
Yeah. Well, hell, if we're bringing in fucking McIntyre and starting him back at the bottom, what happens to fucking Eric now that the Wyatts are dead? I guess he'll be in a feud with Harper.
Yeah, oh God.
That's all I can think of at the minute.
That's
we'll
all
see.
you can do.
Ellsworth's obviously going to stay with Carmella.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The Usos need to stay because
you do realize, Ashley, that we're finally going to get that segment that we've not been waiting for, where James Ellsworth and Carmella run into Enzo and Cass.
How you doing?
Ellsworth needs to get a partner immediately.
Kane's obviously exempt because of Mayor.
He'll be a mayor very soon.
Ascension. Could Ascension get cut?
They need to go back to NXT.
I don't want to say the name Mojo Rawley because I know what you're going to say. Won't be as bad as, but it might be close to Die Mojo Die.
No, it's going to be give a call to Pat Buck. You're wanted for an indie show.
Oh, shit.
Keep him on SmackDown.
Obviously, it makes no point to debut Nakamura on Raw the week after he's debuted on SmackDown, so he'll be staying. Orton obviously needs to stay because him and probably Nakamura and AJ are probably the things that are holding that brand together right now.
Yeah.
Same with Dillinger, and then Zack Ryder's obviously out injury wise. In terms, actually, if you look at the fact, obviously they need women on that roster because technically all they've got at the minute is Becky, Carmella, Naomi, and Natalya.
You are correct.
The great thing is, of course, if like Sasha and Charlotte do come over, I can't be bothered to play the Cookie Monster music again, but Carmella would be so the odd one out, wouldn't she?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh.
Like at this point, like they almost need to. I can't see them bringing anybody else up. Like a part of me wants to say bring up Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, but I can't see them doing that right now. If you look at the rest of the roster, I know Andrade Cien Almas probably will debut on SmackDown, maybe as soon as tomorrow night. Dawkins, he can stay in NXT. Aries, obviously, we know where he is, so obviously we're good to go. Authors of Pain can stay in NXT. Bobby Roode should be on Raw.
I completely forgot they still technically do stuff with Scott Stanford.
Yeah. Roode should be on Raw. I doubt it. But Blake and Murphy need to stay in NXT. McIntyre he's going to be there for a bit. Same with Eric Young. Itami, obviously, he's the next challenger to Bobby Roode. See NXT in his next couple weeks. I'd love to bring Chris Hero to the main roster. I don't think it's going to happen right away. Oney Lorcan wouldn't surprise me on SmackDown potentially, but I think that was a one-time thing.
Well, you've already had him on 205 Live, so you've left the door open.
Yeah, he could possibly show up.
For him to be part of the Cruiserweight stuff on both nights.
And to be totally honest, at this point, if everything ends up going the way that it does with the Sanity storyline, I think that you could potentially see Roddy going up to 205 as well.
What, Killian Danes on 205 Live?
Oh boy.
Killian Danes on 205 Live, everybody.
DIY, Logan says they need to stay in NXT a little while longer. I would not be shocked if they show up on SmackDown. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that I wouldn't be shocked if it does. Like if they show up on SmackDown tonight, I would not be surprised one bit.
The only reason I think Damo could be on 205 Live is because I'm amazed bloody Oni is 195.
He's a tiny guy. He's very lanky.
Yeah, but he's a lanky tough fuck. That's the thing.
Doesn't mean he weighs that much. But yeah, we've gone through the roster and everything, and now we get to find out exactly what's going on tomorrow night or tonight. We have an abbreviated version of the SmackDown 205 Live Popcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be our show tonight. Shout out to Logan and Pedro, Acer. Shout out Jeremy Mills, Aiden Quinn. I saw Timbo. I saw Will. Kofi Kingston, of course, who's obviously listening in.
Kofi Kane.
Big props as always to Acer for promoting the podcast on his social media. So that's your show tonight. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Ash's My Name UK.
All right.
And all that jazz.
Gaming with Ash returns this coming Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, like I said, big shout out to Acer at Acer 1337, yes in a row for all the podcasts you should be listening to, wrestling and or otherwise, and Acer 5000 on YouTube. Follow him, check out his content. Definitely, he definitely appreciates it. And also, shout out to Logan. Follow him on Twitter at LoganBurton10. Pedro at Evil Takes Root. And big shout out to everyone that joined us in live chat tonight. Quick programming note. Tomorrow night will be our SmackDown 205 live podcast. We're not going to go extremely late because I'll shoot with you guys. I got to be up to work at 9 a.m. till 5. Going to Fate of the Furious. And then coming back here to do the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast, which will start as soon as I can get back. So sometime after the 10 o'clock hour. So
yeah, depending how long the ads and trailers are.
Right. We'll see how long that works out. And then Thursday back here for Sip and Snack. Friday will be the return of Versus. Saturday Gaming with Ash. Sunday, of course, will be AJ's movie reviews. We got a lot of things up on tap. Chips is coming down the line very soon. Should be an interesting one. Smurfs is coming down the line very soon, just with the Boss Baby this past week, which is the #1 in the box office for the last 2 weeks. Obviously, a placeholder till Fate of the Furious comes out, and then Dunn's the party this weekend. So that's going to be your show. And once again, follow me on Twitter if you so choose at Zero and Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page. Almost 200 likes. Thank you to everyone out there that's liked our Facebook fan page. It's a Popcast Network. Really show support with our Patreon Popcast Network and our Zazzle merch Popcast Network as well. So, as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you've chosen a podcast. I'll thank everyone for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Shout out to my good friend and fellow contributor here on this network, Great Traveling Scott, who's back literally traveling on the road again for the next month or so. So safe travels for him, and hopefully checks out some of these podcasts. If not, we'll have Scott back on sometime in the next couple of months. So that's a promise. And thank you guys and girls up there for watching. Until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Do you honestly think that dummy on the stretcher was Blofi Kingston?